Hey guys, I just got back from my zone 2 week 6 run where I'm trying to keep my heart rate at zone 2, which for me, it seems like it's anywhere between, I think, 109 and about 128 or so, like something like that. So it's a little bit challenging to keep my heart rate in that zone during these training runs. However, if you refer to my last week run, I had a great success. I spent almost the entire run in that zone 2 training, and I did pretty much the same exact run. So there's some things that I think are affecting my heart rate. There's got to be a little bit of some recovery that's involved. So whether, depending upon how high my level of recovery is from the previous day or the previous few days. Also, stress and anxiety stuff, I think, show up. I think that getting into that fight or flight or rest or digest has a really big, so the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. I think the initial response from my body whenever I start running, particularly if I'm in a little bit of a heightened state, does seem to be going into that fight or flight style, and that spikes my heart rate up a little bit. And then what I noticed today was my heart rate after it kind of, my body felt like it figured out, and it took it quite a while. Boom, the heart rate just kind of went right down to zone 2. And also one of the interesting things was when I was really focused on calm breathing whilst out there on the trail, the heart rate just started clicking down. But that first probably 20 minutes or so, I think I was definitely in an elevated state. Um, yeah, just kind of like life stuff, whatever it might be. I mean, I think I vibrate at a high frequency anyway. Just just being a little bit of an anxious person here and there. So those are just some of the things that I think have effect on the heart rate and my ability to kind of control that heart rate throughout the run. The cool thing was I set out to do zone 2, so I just stayed steady. I was like, okay, these are slow ass miles, but I'm going to get myself to where my heart gets down into that zone 2, and I just kind of stuck with it. And by the time, I got out there, a couple of miles, the heart rate started to sink down, and all of a sudden it went from 140 down to like 115, and I was like, okay, sweet, I'm in zone 2. So there could be some tech issues. I mean, it isn't perfect, right? So there's going to be some things that are like, oh man, well, that's kind of weird. So there could be some tech stuff, but there's also kind of some theories that probably are a little bit accurate, depending upon the day. So definitely just trying to get my body more into that kind of homeostasis, trying to, not necessarily homeostasis, obviously, because homeostasis, I would be walking and chilling, but just trying to find that range where I'm not in a fight or flight mode when I'm out there trying to do these zone 2s. I also had a little bit of pain in my right foot and ankle, and a little bit in my right quad. So I squatted yesterday. I think some footwear that I'm wearing out on my runs might be kind of going sideways. So there's just some things that were kind of working against me, maybe with sending a little bit of impulse. So that's just some of the stuff that I'm kind of working on. So some of the things that you can think about during your runs is kind of like, if you're trying to get into zone 2, like, what's your state of mind? What's your breathing like? And it's a good practice. I think the heart rate training is kind of cool. And it's a good challenge, because I'm largely not doing a lot of running one day a week. So it's going to be a challenge for me to kind of continue that cardiovascular fitness while doing only one day. I might be asking a little bit too much, but we're just going to see. So the warm-up was 0.6. I just took a walk all the way down. And there is a bathroom near the trailhead, which I have always had to go pee every time on these. And I just brave it out, and like I'm just dying during the run. So I peed and I got it done. And then I ran 3.75 at a moderate, very, very, very slow pace. And then I walked home about 0.12. So I was trying to cover like 4.5 miles on the whole run. And it took me an hour and 9 minutes. Now, I say that I did also see a friend at the end of the trail, and we talked for about 10 minutes. So you can kind of see that did affect some of the data, but that's okay. But you can see these miles are really slow. 11:55, 10:54, 11:30. You can see right here at mile 3, that's when I started to actually get into zone 2. But last week, if I look back, I think that those were all 10.5 minute miles, and I was in zone 2 like a big dog. So definitely some things are at work here, and so I'm just going to continue to kind of be curious about it. I'm not going to freak out. I think it's just good information, and let's just take some curiosity and see what happens. And then, so yeah, here is the data. I spent about 3 minutes in zone 4, so that's that threshold. I spent most of the run in zone 3, so okay, whatever. I spent 17 minutes and 20 seconds in zone 2, and zone 1 was probably me standing there talking to my buddy. So I was able to get to zone 2 training. It took a while. The heart rate was spiking. I was really working on just trying to find out how I could get that baby down into that zone 2. The imperfections of the technology, here and there, and also just trying to figure out what's working on my body when I'm feeling these kinds of ways. I didn't feel like my body was at an elevated heart rate. It just says it was. So that's it. Let me know if there's any questions, comments, or concerns. Thanks for watching.